Back in 1987, Arnie told us to get to the chopper, and nearly 40 years later, we're still doing it. Welcome to Film Focus Online Presents, your home, movie talk, reviews, and everything film. I'm your host, Elliot and today we're heading deep into the heat of the hunt because the Predator is back. Late century, Predator Badlands, directed by praised Dan Trachtenberg, brings a fresh spin to this brutal sci-fi saga. And joining me today to talk about it and to attempt the impossible in ranking every Predator movie from 1987 original to Badlands, Film Focus Online writer and true Apex critic, Jack Ransom. Jack, are you ready to join the hunt?
I am indeed. I think I might change my bio on social media to Apex Reviewer because that is the best compliment I could have so far. Yeah, no, great to be back on, and I'm a big fan of this franchise, from the comic books to the games to the movies. So I'm looking forward to jumping back into the jungle and having a chat about Predator.
Yeah. So, should we get into it and go basically straight into Predator Badlands? What did you think of it?
I loved it. It's one of those films where I was really looking forward to it. So there's a little bit of bias going in because I'm a big fan of this franchise and this world. So I had high expectations for this one, especially coming off the back of Prey and Killer of Killers, Dan Trachtenberg's last two Predator films. And the idea of the film focusing on the Predator as the main character and sort of disregarding the human interaction side of it for the whole film, just setting it on this alien planet with synthetics, predators, and whatever hostile life is on the planet. I was really interested in it, and I had a total blast with it. It's such a cool, unique way to keep this franchise fresh. As I said in my review, I was slightly skeptical with the 12A rating, but honestly, the action here and the ideas and execution of it, it really didn't matter at all because it's still very badass and looks great as well when watching it. So I loved it. You can check my review on the website and the plug there. But yeah, I had a great time with it, and yeah, what did you think?
So throughout, it was a bit weird. So throughout the movie, I thought it looked fantastic to start off with. I was a little bit worried going in about with the Predator being the main character about how it would look. You know, there's a lot of CGI there, a lot of special effects with the face of the Predator. But I actually think he did a really good job of making it look as real as he could.
Yeah.
Problems I had during the film, which I'll go on to in a minute, I felt tonally it was a little bit confused throughout. One minute it'd try and be
Mm.
very serious. The next minute, when Fanning comes in and makes those comedic elements, and it was kind of jumping between the two, and it sometimes didn't quite work. But when you actually get to the climax of the film, I felt like that tone made it all come together.
I agree. It's a little bit jarring at first because the opening of the
Mm.
film, I don't know if we sort of jumping into like spoilers, or are we keeping it kind of
I
should we
mean, we
jump in?
can. It's first 5, 10 minutes, yeah.
Yeah, first fight, yeah. So the opening of the film is it's very tonally very serious. Deck,
Yeah.
the lead predator, basically witnesses his brother get killed by their father, and he is sent away on their spacecraft to this hostile planet. And it's basically the film very much centers around him living up to his father's legacy and living up to his family's legacy and honor. And he basically is obsessed with being a true Yautja, what the predators are called.
Hmm.
And to do so, to prove himself, he's got to find this massive creature on this planet that even his father fears. But at first he's going to get executed by his father, but his brother saves him and sacrifices himself to do so. So Deck obviously has this guilt that he's got to take with him and to avenge his brother, take revenge on his father, and bring honor to himself and feel like a true predator. And the film carries that throughout, even with the, like you mentioned, it's like I had to describe the tone. It turns into kind of a buddy road trip movie.
Yeah,
is a way
yeah,
that I
and
would
that's
describe it.
like you said, it goes from that very serious tone of following this guy trying to prove something to his family to a buddy adventure,
Yeah, and I
but
at
then
first
sort
it's
of jumps
quite
between the two
striking.
of it.
Yeah. You've got Elle Fanning's character, Thea. She's trying to
Hmm.
she's a synthetic and she's basically trying to express her emotions. They're like the most advanced Weyland-Yutani synthetic so far. So they're essentially they have emotion and care and love and they feel things and they want to learn. And she's this really bubbly, optimistic present who's like desperate
Everything's
to
like a
help
joke, isn't it?
Jack.
Everything
Yeah. Everything is the most
trying to
exciting
get a
thing for
reaction
her.
out of it. Yeah.
That's it. And it's like it's essentially the straight cop and the goofy cop kind of the
Hmm.
like it's that you've got a like Deck who's this very self-serious. He refers to her as tool. Like you're only coming
Yeah.
with me because you can help me. Whereas she is like
Yeah.
he's a friend. I want to learn from him and learn what he's doing and but he's very like obviously shuttered off and he's been taught that sensitivity is weakness. Showing any sort of connection to anyone is a sign of weakness. You need to work alone. You need to hunt alone. So this dynamic, like you've seen it before in other films, but not, it's just quite jarring. And also for me, what I found just so refreshing and unique and charming about this take on the Predator lore and
Yeah.
especially, and I don't think it's advertised too much in the trailers, especially when they sort of get a little Star Wars like mascot who follows them around. This he's called Bud. They name
It's
him
like a
Bud. This little
it's like a
monkey kind of thing.
bigger version of it.
Yeah, pretty
Oh.
much, pretty much. Yeah, so it's quite strange at first, but then I'm like, I just very much locked into it being this sort of goofy sci-fi adventure, but
Yeah.
it has like it's got some genuine heart to it and the moments of seriousness all gel together and come together really well, especially like you said in that final act. It's brilliant. What the final payoff is excellent, but like it's crazy to think how you kind of they've basically nailed making a Predator a engaging and interesting protagonist
Yeah.
because all the dialogue's obviously in the Predator language with subtitles
Hmm.
and it's the effect work on the face is incredible, like the emotions in his eyes and when he roars and like you see snippets of fear and anger and sadness and the emotion is incredible and it's just a really cool unique sci-fi adventure
Yeah.
and yeah, completely like felt so
Well,
refreshing for me.
was going to say, so in 2022, Dan Trachtenberg did Prey, which I felt
Mm,
reinvented the franchise a little bit. And
yeah.
then earlier this year, he did the animated Killer of Killers film, which again pushed it to another boundary. So do you think he's evolved the franchise again with this latest installment?
I 100%, and I'm loving the fact that each entry he's done so far feels completely different to the other, but yet still stays faithful to what Predator is. I mean, you
Hmm.
have Prey, which is almost a complete opposite of this. It's much more stripped back to
Yeah,
basics.
it's
The
absolutely. Hmm.
Predator looks like he's much more menacing from the outside. I think I can't remember what they call him in it. Maybe he's like the exiled or the outsider, that whatever that Predator is, or the primal one. He doesn't really have a personality in that film. He's very much like the first film where and the subsequent films that came after that, where it's the humans that you're focusing on, and they have to survive against this threat that just wants to
Yeah,
hunt and kill. Then with Killer of Killers, he delivered what fans have been asking for ages. Like, how about we just set the Predator in different time periods?
going
Um,
through the time zones, and then it all comes together at the end, doesn't it? Which we'll
and it
get
all comes
onto a
together at the end
bit
with
later. But
the Predator planet and the ending sting, where it turns out they actually keep those that beat them, they keep them cryogenically
mhm.
frozen. And then this third entry, 100 third entry, but like this third installment he's done, it changes it up again. It's completely different from the tone to the last two. It's much more like the fact it's centered on the Predator as the protagonist. And I've seen a lot of people like, oh, it shouldn't, it's like you've made him like a Marvel hero kind of thing. But it's, what's you keep it interesting. Like I said, I love the first Predator movie, but just doing that over and over, you kind of like
You
it's
can't just
you
keep
can't. It's
rehashing the
got
same story.
exactly. We've got the definitive Predator movie. How about we start expanding it? And it's working. People like the reviews for this have been really good. Um,
Hmm.
it's made more than it was predicted to on its opening so far, which is great. And yeah, people are really gelling with it. I totally get why, because it just feels fresh and different, yet also very faithful to the previous ones. Where I was like, yeah, it's still really cool. The action is great. Obviously, it's obviously very CGI heavy action because there's no human element to it apart from obviously Elle Fanning. She's not playing a human in the film, but she's obviously there on the set, like tangibly there. And the guy that plays the Predator, I can't remember the actor's name, but he does a great job with the practical side of it. But a lot of it is big CGI spectacle because everything on this planet is out to kill them. Like you've got killer plants, you've got this sort of mixture of a bison and a rhino with like a tentacle that comes out its face.
In
You've got
fact,
these
was
little
the
eel
razor
things.
grass that is
The
literally just
razor grass, even the grass is out to
it's
kill them.
literally just glass.
Yeah.
Just yeah,
You've got like this pterodactyl thing that's dropping things down
yeah.
to make
That's
these
early on in it as
paralyzing
well.
gas explode. It's like everything there is out to kill him. And obviously the big bad, I've forgotten the name of the creature he's wanting to kill. Is it
Caliph, the
the
Caliph.
Caliphs? That's it. And then that's obviously this massive beast that can regenerate, and it's huge, big,
I
it's
like
kaiju kind of
I
looking
like the
thing.
way, like you said, everything's out to kill him. But I like the
Mm,
way that once he's been in on that planet and been tried to kill by these things, he then found a way. They weren't just chucked there for no reason. He then found a way to use them against the people he was fighting
yes,
in the end.
that sequence is awesome. Like where he goes back through the
So
previous
like the montage,
areas.
yeah.
Oh, I love that. I absolutely love that. And he makes the homemade kind of armor out of the hide of the big bison rhino thing. He's got the spitting eel snake thing on his shoulder, like the predator cannon. I was that at the point. I was like, oh, I'm in love with this. This is just like such a cool and creative idea to show the survival skills. Obviously, one of my favorite set pieces in it is Elle Fanning's character Tia. Well, she plays two roles in it, but the Tia character who's got half her body off. There's a brilliant sequence where
I know
her
it's coming
legs,
here.
yeah, her legs are fighting people while she is locked up. The other half of her is locked up in this container, and the legs are fighting people. I was like, this is it's so goofy, but it works really well. It's very very good fun.
I think by that point, so obviously I said about it being the tone was a bit off to me during the film. I think by that point I kind of like worked out where it was going. So
Yeah,
I kind of had accepted that goofy nature of this film.
yeah,
And to be honest, I think like you said you being worried about the 12A, I think the action is still good enough to be entertaining and there's still arms getting chopped off and
yeah.
you know
Well, like it's the only reason the film is not a higher rating is because most of the blood is green or blue from
it's
the
green.
synthetics.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because
um
it is
and
brutal. I mean, like, yeah,
I feel like it's gonna there was quite a lot of younger kids in my Friday night screening. Probably you're looking around the age of like sort of maybe 10,
yeah,
with their parents in there. And I feel like that might be a good thing because it's bringing in new eyes to the franchise.
100%. And I think that is also what they're doing with this. And this is what's great about it so far with what Dan Trachtenberg's doing. It's
Mm.
making it accessible for, you've got the harder R ratings of Prey and Killer of Killers, yet why not make a space action adventure with the Predator? And like you said,
Yeah,
it's like it doesn't hinder the action at all. Like the section where he's like fighting all the synthetics and like, he's ripping their arms off, he's stabbing
yeah,
them in the throat. It's still awesome to look at, but like it's just the only thing that's different is it's not spraying gore everywhere. It's
that's
it's
mad, isn't
it's
it?
just
That they can get away with that just because the blood's
yeah, because it's
green
gnarly.
and
Like,
blue.
there's decapitations, limbs get lopped off of like aliens and like not aliens, but like, other aliens on
Mhm.
the planet. Though speaking of, obviously that's another great thing that this film
Yeah,
does is not force the alien stuff. Like it feels so natural it being there. Like Wayland Yutani are there
we already know that these two worlds are in the same
connected.
universe. The alien and
Yeah.
the predator, they're already in the same universe. We know that. But them
Um.
having the Wayland, is it Wayland Yutani
Yeah.
Corporation already, sort of there. They say it, and you're just like, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. It's
Rather
just
than,
seamless.
yeah,
It makes
it's
sense
good.
as well because that's all Wayland Yutani do. It seems to be is let's go to the most dangerous places and and do research and
Collect,
take
collect
samples and
creatures. Yeah,
yeah. So it just fits
especially
perfectly,
after
and
seeing
I'm
Alien
glad.
Earth.
Yeah. Oh, I still need to watch Alien Earth. I haven't actually got
Yeah,
around
I
to
need
that.
to finish it as well.
But I was kind of part of me was thinking. I know some people would love it, and I don't get me wrong. Of course, it will be cozy, but I'm quite glad they didn't chuck in like a xenomorph or the predator didn't walk past and see like a load of eggs or something. It's just it's better to focus on the world building instead of just shut because obviously at some point it's inevitable they're going to cross over again, especially because at the moment both the franchises are doing solidly. I mean, Alien Romulus I really liked, and it
I
went
agree.
down well with people. Predator's on a great streak. And if
And they're
Dan
both owned by
Trachtenberg's
Disney.
overseeing it, yeah. Well, this is the funny thing because when it got Disney
Squeeze
bought,
everything out. Squeeze it all
that's
out.
it. But I think that's the funny thing as well is like when obviously the rights went to Disney, people are, oh no, they're gonna ruin Alien and Predator. Yeah, it's been the best, especially for Predator. It's been the best it's been since
A long time.
it,
Yeah. For a
yeah,
long.
but no, I like the fact that the Wayland Corporation are just there. They're there? It makes sense they're there. No one questions it. It's very
Yeah.
cool and geeky. And
It's very
obviously, you
natural.
get the snippet of the alien from Independence Day skull on his wall of trophies.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
another. It's
That's cool.
another thing they can bring in. And
Am I right in saying that
yeah,
in one of the trailers there was a xenomorph skull or
I think there's like
something?
alien mother skull on the wall.
Right. Okay, I did think so.
Um, yeah.
But yeah.
No,
So, was there
I
anything you would have liked more or less of? Action, horror, lore, maybe?
I'm honestly the only. I mean, I can say the only real thing for me that was kind of like, and not a criticism to Elle Fanning, but the villain Tessa is. It's very, she her motivation is very. We've seen it in every single Alien and Predator. It's the
Yeah.
generic kind of because she's a synthetic that's working for the corporation. Like it's that motivation that we've seen in every single Alien movie. But but she's still good in it, and she plays both parts really well. But really, honestly, that's the only real criticism I've already sort of seen this villain motivation before. The rest of it, I loved, and as soon as I locked into the silly tone of it, especially like I think because
Hmm.
it is quite jarring because when when Tia wakes up and you see like there's half of her and she's speaking like a synthetic at first, but then straight away it's the goofy smile,
Hmm.
quips, and I was kind of like I think you could tell people like and then it's like, actually no, this is really different and works, and the film is paced really well. It flies by. I didn't
Yeah,
feel the runtime at all.
I'm gonna be interested to rewatch it. I think,
Oh, 100%.
actually, and I am gonna revisit it just because of how I felt during it. I wasn't sure on what I thought, how I felt towards the tones and stuff like that. It was a real problem for me watching it, and then, like I said, when it got to the end, it all kind of just I went, oh, okay, you know, the,
Yeah.
that's the tone they're going for. That's how they want it. So I'd be really interested to watch it now, knowing that that's the way they're going. I didn't expect it to go that way, and I think that's why during watching it, I was a bit like, oh, what's
Yeah,
going on here?
it's quite jarring at first, and then obviously when Bud starts, hanging out with them,
Mm.
and it's like, the Predator and his
It's like
two sidekicks.
they're doubling down on this. Okay, it's this is the way
Yeah,
they're going.
it works. I feel like you click, and it pays off though, because I
Mhm.
love that bit where I mean, can we say full spoilers now? Um,
Yeah, go for it.
like, so it's revealed that the creature that Deck the Predator is hunting is actually the mother of Bud, the
Yeah.
little creature that follows them around and rescues them. So there's a really cool bit where he goes to Elfang, he's like, I've got to finish my quest, and she thinks, oh, he's still wants to kill the Callus. But then he turns and goes, no, I've got to rescue his mother. And I was like, oh
Mhm.
man, like it's just a really cool
Yeah, that's when it
spin.
started all
Like,
coming together for me. That it was when Deck realized that actually his mission now was to be with he's found his new family
new
and
family
realized that
that has embraced him.
actually you don't need to do everything on your own. That he wants to find his own clan. Fuck my father
That's
kind of
it.
thing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
And
I'm gonna come back and bite you,
and then we
which he
get
does.
to hopefully see what, because apparently and we get to hopefully see, because apparently his mother's going to be even worse according to that ending.
Yeah. So that to me, that ending, there must be more coming.
I
Is there any
100% think
plans?
so.
Do you know?
Yeah, I was watching an interview with him,
Hmm.
director Dan Trachtenberg, and he was like, I have a plan for a third film that he didn't say. He was like, I'm not saying anything, because probably means it's going to be happening. I hope so. But I think part of me thinks it's going to bring together all of what he's done so far. So I think it's either going to be they're going to end up on the planet where at the end of Killer of Killers. So they're going to either meet the people that survived that in live action, maybe bring back Amber Midthunder from Prey, because obviously she's in the cryogenic freeze tank. So I think this third film will bring together what he has done in the previous films. Or it could be or it could be a complete, because he said it's almost going to be another. He said it's a concept that we haven't seen before, the idea that he had. So I'm all for whatever he does next.
Fourth, a fourth
I
idea
thought,
that he's
it,
bringing to us,
yeah,
which is good though, because
I'm
I'm glad because it's not like we said earlier. It's not rehashing the same stories.
no.
It's not treading on familiar ground. It is adding a new, fresh take to the franchise, which is great. Speaking of the franchise, we're now going to talk a little bit about each film in the franchise. So there is seven to this point,
7 of them.
including
Yeah.
Badlands. We're
Hmm.
not going into Alien versus Predator territory. And then at the end of discussion of about the films in this franchise, we are going to try and come up with a joint ranking. So you might see the end of mine and Jack's relationship at the end of this, but shall we get started then with seven? Go all the way back. What's that? 40, nearly 40 years ago.
Yes,
So the first
40
Predator,
years and 2 years.
directed by John McTiernan, who directed Die Hard, starred Arnold Schwarzenegger, Carl Weathers, Elpidia Carrillo, and Bill Duke. Basically, an elite group of commandos go into a jungle and they come up against the ultimate the ultimate
Predator.
predator. Um, so what did you think of this?
I mean, I
Obviously,
love.
we weren't alive when it first came out, but what
Yeah,
did you
well,
think of
funnily
it when you
enough,
first
this
saw it?
was it was actually the first 18 rated film I ever saw. I don't think it's a
Okay.
18 anymore, but I had got given the DVD, or I remember like bought it, or someone bought it for me, and it was the first 18 I got. And it's a film that, like, that just sits alongside so many other classic films that I can just rewatch over and over. It's such a great concept. Obviously, it turns the perception of Arnie and these other guys completely on the head. They're like these huge, macho guys, and the film emphasizes how, like, badass and macho they are by the opening sequence, and then when they annihilate like
Yeah.
half a city's block worth of people in that
Hmm.
sequence where they go to the enemy camp and just destroy it all. It really doubles down on these guys are the best of the best. And then, as soon as this otherworldly threat comes along, it becomes essentially a slasher movie where
Hmm.
Arnie and
Oh, yeah.
co become like the teenage victims.
One
And
by
yeah,
one
it's
getting
awesome.
killed off.
Picked off. That's it. And I rewatched it with my mates a few weeks ago, maybe last month or two ago, and yeah, it's a blast. It still holds up really well. It's the design. I still can't get over how, like, perfect the design of the Predator is.
Yeah.
Who, like,
Yeah, no, with it.
it just is amazing. Like, it looks incredible as well in this first film. Like all the practical makeup and the armor. It looks awesome. And obviously, some elements have aged in it. The heat vision and the cloaking effect. Obviously, this was nearly 40 years ago, so it's going to have aged. But as soon as the Predator appears in as a physical presence, like, this is like almost just watching it in real life. It's so impressively done. And obviously, that finale battle with him and Arnie, where Arnie sort of does a bit like Deck does in Badlands, where he's like using the
Hmm.
resources around him
Yeah.
to fight the creature. Brilliant stuff. Like, it's a classic. It's a classic for a reason.
You've got
It's
you've got
great.
iconic scene, and that it sort of came at a time where these big the 80s action scene, was massive, wasn't it? So it came in that sort of
Yeah,
era where you had very similar films, but all coming out at the same time. So it had to do something a bit different. I think it did do that. It blended that action with the sci-fi really well. Uh,
yeah.
and yeah, so like you said, holds up really well. So cool. Next, then we had something very different in Predator 2.
Yes.
This came out 3 years later. Director of this, I was looking into the director, Stephen Hopkins.
Yeah.
Before this, he'd done quite a lot of music video stuff. After this, bit of TV here and there, but nothing too much. And I think for me, so what they changed up, didn't they? They went from the jungle scene to sort of
The
into
urban
Los
jungle.
Angeles, the urban jungle, and it was sort of the predator was hunting down gang members, and police were chasing after him. So, do you think them going from the jungle to LA was a bit of a mistake for this
I
film?
like I like it. Now this one I did rewatch about 2 weeks ago, and I on my first watch of it, I thought it was fine. On this rewatch, I appreciate it more, I think, as I've just grown to love trashy 90s this kind of
Okay.
era much more. It's got, like, don't get me wrong, it's not on the level of the first film at all, but it is a lot of fun. And it's got this really kind of sleazy, gnarly edge to it. Like the crime scenes are really gory and nasty. The Predator just is cutting people in half. Like, it really doubles down on the kind of schlockier elements of it. The first one, obviously, you've got the bit where the characters have their arms lopped off, and the chest chest gets killed by the laser. Like you got gore in it, but it's nothing like this where there's blood splattering the walls, like the predator's just hacking down dudes left, right, and center. He seems to have completely forgotten the stealth angle at times, and also at the same
Yeah,
time as
that's.
this sort of
I think that's where the issues are with me. It kind of steps away from the mythos of what the first one does.
yeah, I do think though it a lot of the iconic weapons and gear comes from this film though. You got the razor
Hmm.
discs, you got the
Yeah,
nets. Like these are all staples of the Predator's kind of arsenal, but at the same time, and I quite like it, is you've got a completely opposite kind of set of characters. You've got Danny Glover, he's an absolute lunatic in it. I mean,
hmm,
I love it, but he is an absolute nutter. He's like screaming in people and predators' faces. Everyone's sweaty as fuck in the film. Everything looks boiling in it. 'Cause it's like set in the summer of the hottest summer. I
yeah.
think it's Bill
It's set in a
Paxton.
heat wave, isn't it? Yeah,
Yeah,
it's set
that's
in a
it.
heat wave.
So that's why the Predator's there. Bill Paxton is just like sweating through his
what,
two-piece suit.
what a way to try and get the predator to come to LA. Oh, we'll just set
So
it in
it's
a heat
hot.
wave.
Yeah, you've got Gary Busey, who's the sort of guys who know the Predator's there and they're hunting him, and
Hmm.
like everyone's nuts in the film. Like it's definitely more B movie than the first film, and I kind of like that. Like, but
Yeah.
it's don't get me wrong, like it's the pacing is great in it at times, and the dialogue is kind of awful at points, but it offers trashy fun. I feel, and it's good fun to watch
I think
with people.
I think what it still does well is it still has the great sort of character effects of the creature effects of the predator.
Yeah,
You
costume
see
looks
you see
great.
sort of more of that. And am I right in saying that the xenomorph makes an appearance here for the first
Yes,
time?
this was also the first time they really pushed that
Mm.
crossover, and obviously there's a bit of lore expansion as well because you see the Predator ship and the other predators that are in there. And I think yeah, and like that's the thing. A lot of people like don't realize a lot of the iconography and iconic kind of look and
Things
weapons
we see today.
and lore comes from
Yeah.
Predator 2. Yeah, I think it's solid good fun.
So after that, well, we got the Alien versus Predator films, didn't we, in the early 2000s?
Yes.
Um, Obviously, we're not going there, but we didn't get another actual Predator film until 20 years after, and that was Predators that came in 2010, directed
Yeah.
by Nimrod Antal, who interestingly did some episodes of Stranger Things in
Yep.
the previous season. Stars Adrian Brody, Alice Braga, Lawrence Fishburne, Topher Grace. And this is where they end up on the Predators planet, right?
Yes. Correct.
Yeah. So how do you think was that sort of the alien planet setup, do you think?
I this one I need to rewatch it. I've seen it a few times, but I always think it's very solid. I really like the concept's great because everyone basically they
Hmm.
bring a load of murderers there essentially. The predators bring a load of criminals, convicts to this hunting planet, and essentially they have to fight for sport. The predators hunt them for sport on this planet. But again, a bit like Badlands, where this is like a hostile planet, it's all very grisly and gritty. This is definitely, it's probably the most violent of them, I'd say. It's got a
Yeah,
killer
no, yeah,
concept,
I'm with
like
you on that.
it, yeah. And again, it brings in other predator types. You see a further expansion of how many different types of predator there are. You've got Lawrence Fishburne's character who's been trapped on this planet, so it sort of gives an idea of how long they've been doing it for. I need to
Yeah.
rewatch it. I think I always thought it was very solid, and there's a great section
Yeah,
where the
I enjoyed it
predator
as well.
teams up. Yeah, I think there's a great section where the predator teams up. I'm sorry, the original predator fights the new breed of predators, which is cool.
The new
Um,
super predators.
super predators. It looks, yeah, and I think this is the first time we also get the pred dogs as well.
Yes.
Um,
No, yeah.
I
Yeah, yeah,
think
the hunting
really
dogs, yeah.
the the best thing about it though is the cast lineup is nuts. Like for what is essentially a glorified B movie, you've got Adrian Brody, Alex Braga, Lawrence Fishburne, Danny Trejo, Mahershala Ali's in it. Like it's a really awesome cast lineup, and they give like 100% to it. And I'm gonna watch it soon. I might rewatch it this week because it's been a while.
Yeah.
So that's
I
good. We
think
might
I
pause
think
the
it's
ranking. We'll do a bonus episode.
it's definitely a
But
strong sort of mid-franchise entry. I think changing the
yeah,
concept up a
especially
little
with like a
bit.
yeah, especially with a 20-year break between
Hmm.
Predator 2 and this. Um, but yeah, I think it's really when I last saw it, I thought it was very solid.
Cool. So then we move on another 8 years. There's quite a lot of gaps between these
Yeah,
franchises, isn't there?
the gap. And
Until
what's
recently.
strange, like what's strange as well is this one did do well. Like it did solidly on its
Hmm.
budget. And there was like a load of comics that came out after that filled in gaps and stuff. But yeah, guess they just were like, we're gonna wait. We're not gonna yeah. Strange one.
So
It's odd.
this one was the Predator. So
Mm.
it gets a bit confusing because they all seem to just have the same bloody title. So we've got The Predator, which is directed by Shane Black, who did Iron Man 3 and The Nice Guys. And again, this then comes back to Earth, doesn't it? Rather than being on,
Set in the suburbs.
yeah. So what did you think about Shane Black's take on the Predator franchise?
I look, a lot of people hate this film, and to
Hmm.
be fair, like it's got some pretty questionable ideas. Like you've got the fact that the predators are there, like they isn't is the kid has autism, and the predators want to like extract that and research him because they think it's like the
Yeah.
next level of human evolution, and it just comes off quite kind of misguided. But I don't hate it. I if you go into it looking for like again just that trashy CGI goopy monster movie, like there is some cool shit. Like I mean, people there's a bit where like the guy gets ripped in half, the predator
Hmm.
waking up in the lab and just wrecking everyone is pretty awesome. But you can tell the film was a bit of a botch job in the editing room as well. I know they reshot a
Yeah.
load of stuff.
No, yeah, 100%.
Um, and then there's that really crap ending where it's like the predator killer's just this rubbish CGI armor thing that pings out
Yeah.
and wraps around you. And originally they were supposed to, I think originally it was supposed to be Arnie at one point, and then Sigourney Weaver, then Newt, then an actual xenomorph. Like they had all these different ideas of who was going to be in there, and it's like actually let's go for like the least interesting option. But it's a bit of a weird one because the humor, like Shane Black wrote, oh, he's in, no, he's in this film.
He's in
Um,
the original, yeah. Which I only found
he's in
out
the original,
when I was doing
yeah,
my research for this film, actually.
and he does bring his. Just the dialogue in this one is not as witty as his previous films. Like it's a lot of dick jokes and kind of macho, kind of like crass humor.
It's a,
It just
it's a weird environment for the comedy angle. Like we were saying about
yeah,
Badlands, the comedy angle kind of worked in the end because of the sort of buddy adventure kind of angle it took. This
yeah.
was a weird direction for it to take, I think.
Yeah, it's an old. It's a very much a studio botch job, and also there was it just didn't have a lot of good press at all going into it. 'Cause obviously there was like the sexual like wasn't there like a predator, an
Yeah,
actual predator on the set who
yeah.
Olivia Munn then refused to do any promotion for the film because of that, which is completely understandable because it's just yeah,
Hmm.
it was basically out the gate doomed to fail with the bad press and the fact that I don't mind like as I say I'll throw it on. I've thrown it on before. I'm like this is like perfectly okay. It's not one
It's
I
okay
rush
now.
to rewatch.
It's
It's
got the
just a bit of a
fingerprints of intervention from
hundred
studio
percent,
execs all over it.
100%, and it is a clashing tone, and it's
Hmm.
a bit all over the place. But there's moments I like, the car again, like Boyd
I
Holbrook,
agree.
I think is a good lead. Forgotten the name of the actor who plays like the head, of the laboratory guy. I've forgotten his name because he has a great line where he's like, "Yeah, should we call him Predator because it's cool as fuck?" Like there's some good moments in it, but overall, yeah, it's just kind of there.
So then we go move on 4 years to Dan Trachtenberg's first in
Yes,
introduction into the Predator universe. This came out. Prey came out in 2022 during COVID, I believe. Stroke
just
streaming, I think it was.
yeah, it was sort of at the that point of COVID being like you
The
people,
mid
yeah, it was
it came back and it then yeah that sort
it
of time.
didn't. Yeah, this was one was always going to be a streaming release though,
Hmm.
because of the poor box office of the last film. But then it turned out to be a banger, and it should have been at the
Yeah.
cinema.
See, I remember this really vividly because I think this was the first screener that I received from Disney. Disney were notoriously hard to get screeners from, and Prey was the first one I received, and I absolutely loved this film. I thought that the angle they took of going down to this grounded theme and just stripping everything back and just going to this sort of different time. Yeah, I thought brilliant film. What did you sort of think? How did you think the sort of setting helped
I
this
agree.
film?
The sort of just a real refreshing back to basics approach, especially
Hmm.
because of how messy the Predator was. I think they just really understood that they needed to distance themselves as much as possible from that.
That
And like again, you can tell just by the name of it, calling it Prey. Like there's no mention that they don't even put Predator in any of the
no.
promo for it. So it very much is a statement of this is a fresh take. I love the fact that it's set in it's the 1700s, so you have this
1700s. Yeah,
1700s, so there's like the those soldiers with the old sort of weaponry, and you've got the tribe who we follow, who are like obviously hunters themselves, and that's why I love the idea of these people know the jungle, the predator knows the jungle, the
yeah.
woods even, and it's yeah,
Yeah, it
I
was
need to
praised
rewatch it
quite.
again.
It was praised quite a lot, wasn't it, for the representation of sort of indigenous
Yes, yeah, no, they
people.
actually released a cut of the film where all the dialogue is
Hmm.
there's no English, but there's an English version and there's the is it the Comanche? Apologies if I get that wrong.
Comanche. Yeah, the Comanche version,
Um,
which is mad.
yeah, and it's an Amber Mid Thunder who plays the lead character. She's brilliant in it. The fight scenes are great. Like I love the look of this new Predator with the sort of skull like
Hmm.
pulled down its face and the horns.
Yeah.
Um, it's very much back to the first film where the mystique shrouding it. It's not like full front and center like Predators and the Predator, where they were like front and center, like
Hmm.
run around. And yeah, it looks great. I need to rewatch it again because I haven't seen it since it
Same. Yeah.
released.
Same.
Yeah, just one of those films, a bit like I said in my Badlands review, and to be honest, you could with Killers with Killer of Killers. It's just this is such a cool concept. Like it's a
Hmm.
really fresh spin on it, and yeah, it's really good. I need to rewatch it.
Just like you said before, it's taking the franchise sort of to different eras where it can do. We're going to talk about Killers of Killers next, but it's exactly what that does. It takes it to those different eras. You want to see these creatures in these different environments if they've been around that long. Why not?
Yeah,
Why not go back there? And setting this in the 1700s really is very different from anything they did before. We've seen the predator in the jungle, we've seen the predator in the city, we've seen the predator on its own planet. Show us something where, there isn't technology, there isn't cars and guns and stuff like that. Show us what they can do, and I think that's what it did really well. I think it's just something they knew, and I think they absolutely nailed it. And
yeah,
clearly, it's led to these next two films coming out with Dan Trachtenberg in charge of them. So it was the right way to go.
yeah.
Um,
And the audience, the audience reception was good, and then it's I'm gonna be wrong. I'd love to see everything at the cinema, but there's a reason now that Predator's back on the big screen. Like,
I'd love to
it
see this
shouldn't
at a
be.
cinema, actually.
Yeah, it's just she shouldn't have been just dropped on streaming, but you kind of get why because lower budget, it's more content for Disney Plus, and also they don't call it
I think
Predator, it's Prey.
it was coming out a very,
It's that time as well with COVID. Yeah.
yeah, they weren't too sure where this. I think now, obviously, we're 4 years out of it, or whatever it is. I think now, cinema, it may not be where it was before COVID, but it's definitely in a better place now. Whereas then it was a very uneasy time, I think, for everyone still.
Yeah.
People weren't sure whether they were going to go out or stuff like that. So you understand it, but yeah, it would be great to see it in cinema. And hopefully they do a release at some point.
They did in America. They did a
Did they?
double bill of that and Badlands, which I was really hoping they'd do over here, but unfortunately not.
Fucking hell, Disney. Um, so next then we had Predator Killer of Killers, which again was another Disney Plus release. Uh,
Mhm.
First animated installment again from Dan Trachtenberg, and this time he was joined by Joshua Wasung, who done a lot more visual effects works over his career, but I think this is one of his first into sort of directing. To you're a big fan of this film, I believe. So
I loved it.
what
I'm a big
what
fan of
the first animated
anthology.
feature?
Yes, yeah,
Hmm.
first animated Predator feature. And again, it was really cool they were sort of working on this in secret. And it only got announced when Badlands sort of had its first promotion. They're like, oh yeah, you're getting another Predator movie this year. And it's sort of, for me, this film very much feels like an answer to what a lot of fans have been asking for with can we get the Predator but just in different time periods facing off against different warriors from different eras. And I love this. It's I'm a big fan of anthologies in general, and obviously the animation style of this is very much akin to like Spider-Verse and what's been doing recently.
Yeah,
Like
it reminded
um
me of like Arcane.
yeah, I still need to
Um,
watch that, but yeah, a lot of people compared to that.
Remind me about.
And it's a really, once again, just shows the level of detail and expansion they can do with the lore and world of Predator, because each story has a different type of predator in it. So you've got the Viking section, which has got this massive tank predator.
Mhm.
You've got the ninja section where it's like a stealthy predator. And then the third one, it's just a whole dogfight in the air in World War II. And
Yeah, yeah.
I love it. I just think it's such a creative and cool way to keep this series. Like, look, these guys have been around for ages. They appear at all these different conflicts throughout history. And I just like how they just show up and start fucking shit up. Just that's what I like. It's such a cool idea of like, oh, right, there's a predator here. And I love like each era's reaction to them. Like
Yeah,
I love that. Then obviously as we mentioned towards the start, it culminates in the fact that oh, these are actually all part of an overarching story back on the
it
when
all
we
comes
get back to the
together. Yeah.
Predator homeworld. And it's just a really cool little fan pleaser. And again, the teaser at the end of it opens up for more potential for the future going
Hmm.
forward. And yeah, I loved it. I'm a big fan of this one.
I think the
I again, it would have been brilliant seeing it at the cinema.
yeah, I think you've got three stories. I think the first two stories are quite similar
Hmm.
with regards to the the pattern they go down. The third one when it brings in the World War II fighter pilots and they're having the dog fights and stuff like that, that that brings a little bit of a fresh spin. But I think this opened just this little Disney Plus release, which I don't know how many people would have watched it, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I think this opens up the Predator franchise so many avenues that it can now go down. And I
I
think
think as
that's
well
probably what
it's
they're aiming to do with it.
100%. And I think it seems to be there's definitely going to be. I know other franchises, obviously Marvel have done this and DC are planning on doing it, but it's that blend of some of these are going to be in animation, yet we can easily cross it over into live action. And
Yeah,
because obviously Amber Midthunder's character from Prey appears at the end of Killer of Killers in the cryo
in the
freeze,
chamber,
and
don't you? Yeah.
yeah, and obviously in the extended one we get Dutch and Danny Glover's characters as well in that cryo chamber. So I think, like you said, there's just it very much is like, oh, we have a wealth of potential here that we can just keep coming up with fresh ideas as the Predator is going through different cultures and different time periods.
Different
Um,
eras.
and it,
We can go to their planet like we did with
yeah,
Badlands and go
that's
to other
it.
planets.
And
Like
it's
you
just
said,
a
there's probably
really,
going to be another alien crossover.
yeah, and you just makes you think like, why didn't they think of this sooner? But it's come at a really good time, I feel, especially with so many big IPs feeling stale. You've got this one that's actually feeling more exciting after it did like have a wobble after the Predator. It's
Hmm.
a real comeback, which I'm all for it.
Right, so that sort of brings us to the end of all the films in the franchise. You ready to have an argument?
Yeah, go on then.
Well, we'll go from seven to the best. I think I think there's a few films that we probably agree
Yeah.
are down the bottom two. So let's sort of go from five to seven and try and work that out. And then
All
I
right.
think I think there is definitely a sort of definitely a top three. That,
Yeah.
yeah. So what do you reckon? In your opinion, what are the worst of the franchise?
I would say in seventh place is going to be the Predator for me. Like, and
Hmm.
I think when we both discussed it, it both for me it's just a film that it doesn't really have an identity. Like,
Yeah.
it's very much a film made of clashing visions, like add sort of management of the production of it, and just a weak kind of thrown together plot. And like it has its moments, that I like, but I overall compared to the rest of the franchise, I for me it
Yes.
certainly goes at the
So
bottom.
I think for me, it's definitely one of the worst ones. I think another one of the worst ones is probably Predator 2.
Okay.
If I'm looking
See,
if I'm looking across if I'm looking across to be honest, there's three at the bottom for me.
yeah.
Predators,
I think yeah.
Predator 2
I think we're
and
in
the
the same
Predator.
boat then.
Not that I don't like them as much. I don't like them as much as the rest.
That's what I was gonna say. This is where it's tricky because I don't hate any of them. Like I don't. It's like when we did our Jurassic Park ranking. I actively
Hmm.
dislike those.
Yes.
Whereas these
They
ones,
have issues.
I mean, I'd say the Predator's the weakest, but I don't hate it. But
No.
yeah, it's tricky. I would, for me, I would probably say that's bottom. Then tricky because I haven't seen Predators in a while, but I know I have enjoyed it more. I'd probably put Predator 2 after the Predator. So in sixth place, I'd
Yeah,
put
in number
Predator
six.
2.
I'd be happy if it was up to me, I would put Predator 2 seventh.
Yeah. All
But
right. We're agreed on that.
I'm happy to sort of yeah, I'm happy to sort of jump then to and then do you reckon fifth we'll go with Predators?
Yeah, I'm up for that. I agree with that.
Now this is gonna be the tough part.
This is the tricky bit. For me, it was the top two or three are the
Yeah. So we've got the original Predator, we've got
mm,
the most recent three. So we've got Prey, Killers of Killers, and
and
Predator
Badlands.
Badlands. I personally, God, this is tough.
It's really tough. I think we're going to disagree on one of them for sure.
I think we're going to
I
disagree
think,
on Killers of Killers.
I think we're going to disagree on that, and I think you're going to disagree. We're going to possibly.
What would you go for?
For me, my fourth place would
Hmm.
be Prey.
Okay, right. That's
I
an
would.
issue.
I think-
That's what
But
we got.
this is so yeah, this for me is this is where because I was like, I know you really like Prey, so that's why I was like, this is
What
where
would you
it's
put? What would you place in third?
Killer of Killers.
Killer of
I
Killers.
loved Badlands. I really, really liked
Would
Badlands.
you? Because I'd be happy. I think I'd put Killer of Killers fourth, personally,
I
out of
honestly,
all of
I would
them.
be so in terms of so
And I
you
would, and
saying
I could put Prey at three.
yeah, I'd accept that because I really like Prey, but I think for me it's the angle the concept of the anthology for me is what I prefer about Killer of Killers, but I also do really like Prey. This is the issue. These four are all very good, in my
They
opinion, for the
are.
top four. But I think
See, where are you putting the original, first or second?
I probably this is what's tricky. This is what I had this sort of moment this morning when I was thinking because I mean, I love the original, but the more I think about Badlands, the more I'm like this might be the coolest concept of the whole bunch. But I think for me, the first film's still
The original's got to be first, hasn't it?
the original's got just because
I
it
think it
is
has.
such a cool. And watching it recently, I was like, this is still such a fresh idea. And I feel like with Badlands, I love it. The more I think about it, the more I love it. But I feel like just the villain side of it
It
does
wouldn't
hold
be
it back a
it.
little bit.
It, it also wouldn't be there without the original.
Exactly. It's like this is the thing. If it's the first film, it's tricky to kind of yeah. I'd say so. I'd say for my first and second, I would put the first film in first, then Badlands
Yeah.
second for me.
See, these three films, for the record, I think in any order would work.
Yeah.
I'm going to compromise. I'd probably put Prey over Badlands, but because you got Killers of Killers, I'm happy to move that
You're
around.
willing to make that sacrifice.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Why not? I think I think up, upon the first watch, I probably enjoyed Prey more than the original Predator,
Yeah.
but there's very little between them, uh, and maybe that's just because it comes down to it being set in the 80s is a little bit dated.
Yeah.
If we'd have watched it when it first
Yeah,
came
there's a
out, I'm sure it
few
would have been a very different reaction.
yeah, there's a few elements of it that I think are definitely dated, but I think still just the idea of it is such a cool concept, and I think I don't get me wrong, I love the designs of the Predators that have come since, but I still think that original one just it's such a cool look, and like it looks amazing still. The score in that film as well is brilliant. The
Yeah.
this
No, yeah.
um like, and obviously there's so many iconic Arnie lines in it. You got to stick around, get to the chopper. You're one ugly motherfucker. Like, it's iconic '80s. I love it. As much as I think that for me personally, like what Trachtenberg is doing with them at the moment are more interesting from a
Hmm.
lore perspective and franchise perspective. Like I said,
It's
it
expanding.
wouldn't
It's expanding it, isn't it?
it's expanding an already cool concept. And that's why I think the first one is still number one. I think Alex is just still really bloody good.
Yeah. I mean, it says a lot. So I think we're decided now. So our top seven is so seventh place is The Predator. This is
Correct.
2018.
Yeah.
Sixth place is 1990, The Predator 2. Fifth place, Predators from 2010. Fourth place, Killer of Killers from this year. Third place is Prey from 2022. Second place, Badlands from this week. And number one, we're going with 1987 Predator.
Yeah.
But I think it says a lot that the three most recent films, the only one that's beaten it is the original.
Yeah. And that shows the like, and the fact that this has all happened within sort of the past 3 years as well. Like Prey 22, and then we got
Yeah.
two this year. Like, yeah, keep it up, Dan Trachtenberg. You know what you're doing.
So, one last question for you then. What story would you like to see next?
Oh, that's a really good. I was not prepared for that. Probably something. Honestly, I tell you what, the more I think I'm like, I want to spend more time with Deck, Thea, and Bud, honestly.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah.
I want to see that story continue. But if I had my sort of pick of where I want it to go next, I'd probably like want it to go to maybe like a kind of I tell you what, actually, the Predator in like that sort of Victorian England Gothic kind of setting,
Okay.
like sort of skulking across the rooftops of London, kind of like in that era.
Crossover with crossover with Nosferatu.
Yeah, like have him Jack the Ripper, but yeah, like something like that, like in like a gothic kind of setting, or like castles, like medieval, maybe something like that. I would be all over that. That would be hundred
Think
percent
I'd like
my
to
jam.
see. So the second story of Killer of Killers was the samurai story. I'd like to see. I'd like to
Yes.
see him go back to that. Obviously, we had the Disney Plus show Shogun, which was the
Mm.
samurai. So that kind of world, I think, would be really cool to
With
see.
the Predator.
And again, from Killers of Killers, the sort of World War II sort of dogfight.
Yeah. You do get the sense that Killer of Killers also works of them testing the water of how people respond to certain eras.
Do
So I
you
would
think we'll
not be
see more
surprised.
of that kind of anthology?
Oh yeah, 100%. Give
Yeah.
me, because there's so much more potential they can have. I mean, like, what's next? They could do Roman, Aztec. Like, there's so many
It wouldn't
different
surprise me
places.
if they did a bit like a bit like a What If that Marvel did, or
Mm.
Love, Death and Robots, where they had the anthology series, just like,
Yeah,
20 minute episode, new series of this animated stuff. And again, it's
I'd be
Disney.
love. I
They they're doing that with Marvel. They're doing that with every single bloody franchise
Star Wars.
they've got. So yeah,
Yeah,
cool. So thank you very much for joining me.
no
That brings
problem.
us
It was
to
a
the end.
blast.
Please like, rate, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, to our Spotify. Anything you can do to help us along would be great. You can find more of our work on Film Focus Online. Find us on all socials at Film Focus Online. And please come and join us next time for more great film discussion. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.
Bye. Thanks for listening, guys, and go and watch Predator Badlands.
And read Jack's review. It's on our website now.